Welcome back, McFly subscribers. Today we're finishing up the Winter Fly series with this Mini Jigged Wooly Bugger, which in my opinion is one of the best streamers to fish during the winter. Now I will discuss this fly in winter fishing conditions later in this video, as I'm sure you all want to get started tying right away, but in case you haven't seen this channel before,
this is McFly Angler.
And it starts now.
Okay, let's start tying. Place a hook and bead securely in your vise. For a hook, I'm using Risen's Barbless Jig 9030 in size 12. This is a long shank hook that has a jig eye on it, which is perfect for this fly. And we will need that longer shank to get the proportions correct. We will also need to pair this with a slotted bead. This is Risen's tungsten slotted bead, and I'm using the neon white today in size 3.5mm. A slotted bead has a regular hole, and then a slot in the back that allows it to seat into the jig. The easiest way to put a bead on your hook is to place the bead in your hand and bring the hook point to it. By the way, Risen sells these in more than just white. They come in normal bead colors, like gold, black, and silver, but they also carry some really cool colors, like orange and pink, purple, olive green, dirty olive, this really awesome matte black, and one of the coolest beads ever, these glow-in-the-dark ones. They're a great price as well, so check them out. When putting a tungsten bead on a hook, you want to make sure that they're oriented properly. As you can see, the bead won't push all the way up this way, but if I turn it around, it will seat perfectly into that slot, and up against the hook eye. As I've mentioned on the other videos in this winter fly series, I like to fish very heavy flies in the winter. So here I'm going to add some more weight with this .01 size lead wire. And I like putting it in a bobbin holder for easy application. Now, I usually like to use lead-free wire, but I didn't have that in the smaller size. Now I'm going to make 10 wraps of this lead onto the bare hook. Oops, I broke it at wrap 9. Oh well, I'll just use that. Push the wraps together, and then let's place a dot of super glue ahead of the lead wraps. Then push the lead wraps up into the bead slot, and this will stabilize that bead and add some extra weight. Now we need some thread, and today I'm using Viva 6/0 in white. This is a round thread that is very strong for its size. Start the thread behind the lead wraps and snip or snap off the waist. Then wind up through the lead wraps and behind the bead a few times. As you can see, this bead will not move now, and then come back down to the start of the hook bend. Now we need a tail, and today I'm using whiting chickaboo in white. These are like marabou feathers, just they come from a chicken rather than a turkey, and they're much smaller. And they come in different colors. Here are a few examples. Pull one feather off the swatch, and you can see what these look like. Now you can totally use regular marabou if you want, but for this size fly I feel the chickaboo works best. I like to wet the tips for easy tie-in, and then let's measure it out to about a hook shank length, and tie the feather in at that measurement off the back of the hook with a couple tight wraps. Now let's cut off the waist. But we want this to extend up the hook shank. So rest your scissors on the bead and cut the feather there. You can start wrapping up the feather to tie in the tag end, but this proves difficult. So if you pull the feather back and then wrap up to the bead, you can capture the end of the feather and wrap back down on it, securing it to the hook shank. Making sure that the tag end extends all the way up to the hook shank is important to be able to build a proper taper on this fly. Now we need some flash, and here I have some crystal flash in silver. Cut one strand off the hank, and then fold it in half and align the tips. Tie this in on the side of the tail with a couple tight wraps, and I like it to extend just past the end of the marabou. Then pull the forward-facing strands back and around on the other side of the tail, and then tie them in as well. Now we can cut them to the same length. Okay, now we need some wire. And this is UTC Ultra wire in a small size and silver color. Pull 2 to 3 turns off the spool and break it off. This should tie 4 to 5 of these flies. Tie this back at the base of the tail so the tip extends up to the bead. Then wrap over it up to the bead and bring your thread back down to the start of the tail. Now we need some dubbing, and today I'm using this UV2 Diamond Bright. As you can see, it's really flashy dubbing, and that will add a nice sparkle to the body of this fly. I'm going to be using the gray color here, so pull out a small amount, we really don't need too much, and then we will dub this onto our thread, creating a nice taper, from thin, close to the hook, and thicker towards you. Now wrap this up the hook shank with touching wraps to form a nice flashy dubbing body, and we want to ensure that there is a nice gradual taper here. And with your thread just behind the bead, and now we need some hackle. There are a few different options. Here's a soft hackle that whiting calls wet fly hackle, and here is a more standard woolly bugger style hackle. You can see that the fibers are a bit stiff. Let's tie this with a stiffer woolly bugger hackle, and we want to make sure that the hackle is the right size for our hook. So wrap this around the hook, and try to find one that is about double the hook gap width. This one will work fine. We don't need the whole feather here, and the fibers up by the tip are shorter and more the size that we need. So let's cut off the rest of the feather, and pull a few fibers off the base here to expose the feather stem. Now let's tie this in so the back of the feather is facing rearward, and make one wrap over the feather, then wrap over going the other direction, making an X wrap of sorts, and then wrap back up onto the stem a bit, then cut the excess stem off. Grab the tip of the feather with some hackle pliers, and proceed to start hackling the fly. Make one full wrap right behind the bead, and then start making open spiral wraps down the hook shank until you reach the tail. Grab the wire and capture the feather with it. Then you can pull the hackle pliers off and let go of the feather, and start wrapping the wire up through the hackle. This counter wrapping will hold the feather in and keep this fly very durable. However, the wire will trap some of the fibers of the hackle, so wiggling the wire as you wrap through the hackle will help keep from trapping as many. Once you reach the bead and your thread, then capture the wire by wrapping over it 2 to 3 times, and then wrap in front of it, and you can now helicopter the wire off. Pull all the fiber back and make a couple wraps in front of it. Cut off the excess feather off the back of the fly, and then I like to form a little collar to hide my thread wraps with some more of that dubbing. We don't need much, just make a very small tight noodle. Cover your thread wraps with the dubbing noodle and end with your thread right behind the bead and in front of the collar. Now we can whip finish the fly. And when we tighten the whip finish, it should seat up under that dubbing collar and hide the thread. Now we can cut the thread off. Whip finishing like this protects the whip finish, and there is no real need to add head cement. You can if you want, but I usually do not, as this should not come loose. Well, there we have it, the finished Mini Jigged Wooly Bugger. This is a perfect winter streamer in my opinion. It's very versatile, allowing you to strip it, dead drift, or even fish it like a nymph. The heavy weight makes getting down deep to where the winter trout are very easy, and it's the perfect lead fly to drop nymphs or other lighter streamers off the back. Now here I showed you the wire technique in tying a woolly bugger, which is probably the most secure version. It makes this fly extremely durable, but it does add an extra step and takes some time. If you want to tie these super quickly though, there's another technique that makes this very quick. Let me show you that way now. Now most of this will be tied the same, so I will be speeding through much of the redundant steps until we reach the deviation. As you may have noticed, I changed up the colors here, and I'm going to be tying an all black one. But we want to do everything the same. Add the lead, then super glue, then push it up into the bead cavity, then start our thread and bring it down to the hook bend. Now I forgot here to put in the flash. Oh well. By the way, I will be using that soft hackle here. You can see that the fibers are much softer and stick together. We want a smaller feather down by the base. The feathers up near the top here are much too large for this size fly. Now I like to leave a little bit of the fuzzy fibers, but we want to strip off the rest, exposing the stem like so. Then grab just the tip of the feather and pull back the remaining fiber to create a small tie-in tag. Tie this tag end in right at the base of the tail. Now we can add the dubbing just like before, and end with your thread up just behind the bead. Then use some plunger style hackle pliers this time, and grab the feather stem with them. Then open spiral wrap up the hook shank with the feather, but leave at least one full turn right behind the bead with those fuzzy fibers. Capture the stem and then cut off the waist. Here I'm going to add a collar again to clean this up, and then whip finish and seat it right under that collar. And there we have it, the much quicker and easier version of a woolly bugger. This really does save some time. However, it does leave the fragile feather exposed. One well-placed fish tooth and you will lose that hackle. So what if there was a compromise here? A way to tie this that was very quick, but still quite durable. And there is. Let me show you that way now. Again, I will be speeding through this as most of it is the same, and I'm going to tie an olive version. Add the lead weight, glue it into the base cavity, start your thread, add the tail, then the flash, and here we will add the dubbing body. Now I'm going to use this grizzly olive soft hackle, and we will prepare it like we did with the first fly. Just strip off some of the feather stem, but I will be leaving a little bit of that fuzzy fiber. Tie it in the same way as we did with the first fly, right up behind the bead, and then snip off the feather stem. Then open spiral wrap down to the base of the tail and leave your thread there. Now grab the tip with some hackle pliers and proceed to hackle your fly, making one full wrap behind the bead. Then open spiral wrap down the body, trying to wrap over your thread wraps to hide them. Now we will use our thread to capture the hackle tip, then counter wrap the thread up through the hackle, wiggling as we go, until we reach just behind the bead. Remove the hackle pliers, and then pull the fiber rearward and make a few wraps in front of them. Cut off the hackle tip, make a small dubbing noodle to collar the fly, whip finish and seat the knot under that collar, which I didn't have a bushy enough collar here to do it properly, but you get the point. And now the fly is finished. This is a much quicker way to tie the woolly bugger than the wire technique, and the thread does a pretty good job at holding the hackle down, even through multiple fish strikes. Is it as durable as wire? No, I don't think it is quite as durable. But I mean, the difference is negligible, and the time savings in tying them this way I think is worth it. In all honesty, you probably will not see a difference in durability, but you will for sure notice how much quicker you tie them. Tying these flies this way is so quick that I can tie up to 18 or more of these in an hour, allowing me to fill up a fly box in an afternoon, making this one of my favorite winter flies to fish. See, trout tend to hide deep in holes during the winter, rarely coming up in search for food. This is because there isn't too many hatches going on in the winter, and the trout want to conserve energy. This means you have to fish very heavy nymphs or streamers to get down to where they are. You almost have to drop it right on their nose to get them to strike. So fishing a heavy tungsten bead like this on a woolly bugger means that I can get down very quickly. However, fishing deep like this means you will snag more often on the bottom while you're bouncing along the rocks or debris. Having a fly that is quick and easy to tie is a must in the winter, as no one wants to lose a bunch of flies that took them hours to tie. The other benefit to this is that it is tied on a jig hook with a slotted bead. This means that the fly will be swimming upside down, or at least reversed when drifting under an indicator, keeping that hook point away from debris and reducing the amount of times you snag. Now I really like fishing this as my lead fly, then dropping a smaller unweighted nymph off the back of it. This heavy fly will get that nymph down quickly, and also being a little larger than most nymphs you're going to fish in the wintertime, it will get the fish's attention. If a fish is going to move for any food source in the winter, it's going to be something worth the effort. And a little bait fish like this packs a big nutrient punch compared to a tiny midge larva, so the trout could come up and try to eat this. However, if they're too slow, the little nymph dropped off the back is in perfect position for them to grab it. Deep and slow is the name of the game for fishing winter, and this fly allows us to do just that. So give it a try, and let me know in the comment section what your favorite winter trout fly is. Alright, well I'm now finished with this winter fly series, and I have filled my winter fly box with what I think are the best 4 flies to bring with you in the wintertime. For a recap, I started this series off with the flashback pheasant tail nymph, one of the most versatile nymphs ever created. It can mimic a mayfly, BWO, or even a midge, and that flashy back really gets the fish's attention. Next, I tied up the Ray Charles scud, which is one of my favorite scud flies. And scuds are one of the few food sources available for trout year-round, especially on tailwaters. And last week I tied up the Pat's rubber legs, which is the easiest and one of the most popular stonefly nymphs ever created. And of course, I finished up this series with today's fly, the Mini Jigged Wooly Bugger. Next week I plan on tying a new series for the month of February, but not with any particular fly pattern. Over the years, I've had a lot of subscribers that are brand new to tying flies, and many ask me what tools and materials to get in order to start tying. I'm also asked frequently how to use those tools and what flies they should start with. So next month's series will be for the beginner tyer, starting next week with what tools are needed to start tying and how to properly use those tools. So make sure you're subscribed and click the bell notification so you don't miss any future videos like next week's beginner tool series. By the way, I sell these fly boxes on Amazon with free shipping. They're thin enough to fit in most shirt pockets, or fit multiple even in a small chest pack, so you can organize your boxes by fly type, like this winter nymph box. These are silicone backed with pre-made slots to put your flies in. Also, the silicone back is self-healing, which means you can poke it with your hooks and it won't get all beat up looking, making these boxes very durable. And I've fished with the same box for 6 years and it's still going strong. These are also waterproof with this rubber gasket here. Your flies will not get wet until you fish with them, so that means no more rusty hooks. I will link below to my Amazon storefront if you're interested in picking up these boxes. So I donated this fly box with these flies in it to the Guadalupe River Trout Unlimited for their special event. Here's a flyer for your information if you want to attend, and you can get the chance to bid on getting this fly box. You can sign up for the event at their website, grtu.org. Also, don't forget to check out my sponsor, Risen Fly. They made the hooks I use today, but they also make some of the best fly rods and reels for the money I have ever used. Best off, they're offering you all a discount. So if you're in the market for a new rod or a bunch of hooks or beads, go to www.risenfly.com and type in McFly at checkout and they'll give you 15% off of your first order with them. Okay, thank you all so much for watching. If you liked this video, do me a favor and click the like button. Also, if you could share my videos with all your fishing friends, I would really appreciate it. I will see you on the next video. Now you go catch some fish.